assume you may have done some other things. So just want to start out with, how did you end up where you are now? CEO of Wicklander Zawalski, kind of the path to how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, kind of probably like everybody that's answered this question on your podcast is by accident. It seems like everybody kind of found this industry in that way, which is what's so cool about this industry, right? There's so many transferable skill sets that people in loss prevention or asset protection either came from or go to afterwards. But yeah, I spent majority of my time in the field, so I won't go through the whole agenda of my career, but I did start catching shoplifters back at the Sears Kmart days when the merger started to happen, when things got a little crazy. So I did that. I did the army thing. Most of my career was in retail, like private sector with specialty retail, pharmacy. I did some distribution, so I kind of hopped around different categories in that space. Um, Went to do the public sector thing for a little bit and went to New York State Police and then left and came back to do what I love to do, which is training, and had the really cool opportunity to work for WZ, which I always thought like there's no way I'm going to be able to work for this organization. I was trained by the team, which was really cool, and then be able to come on board and train for them. And then I've been there now for it'll be 12 years in June this year. Just been a wild ride over the last decade, and really been blessed to just meet so many cool people around the world that have been impacted by the organization. So really cool path to be a part of. And I don't know, I've learned just say yes and figure it out later is a little bit of my probably a problem, I would say. Problem setting boundaries, I think, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it depends on who
Hey,
you
so
ask, probably. Go ahead, Johnny. Sorry.
you started with Sears and Kmart. So I grew up in the Kmart world too. Is it ironic? I feel it's a little ironic to me because the internal theft interview and interrogation process for Sears and Kmart was a lot different than most other retailers, right? You had to have 3 hits, you had to have all of them on video before you could sit somebody down. And by that time, there's no interview skill involved with that. So have
No.
you looked back on that and kind of thought that didn't really help my development much?
Oh man, I look back all the time. I've screwed up more times than I can think about. And of kind of a funny example, I guess, when I first worked there, I wasn't doing interviews just yet, but I was supposed to catch shoplifters, and I was in a store that super high shrink. I saw shoplifters all the time. I caught zero in like my first 6 months, and I saw it, but I didn't apprehend anybody because I was never really fully trained on what to do if it goes sideways. Like I knew here's what you do when you apprehend somebody, everything goes by the book. But what happens if it's a juvenile, if they fight, if they have all the crazy stuff. And I still remember this today because I prevented myself from actually doing the job because I didn't feel like I was trained for all the what ifs. And so I take that still today in a training course. If you're going to do an interview, an investigation, don't go into that conversation without knowing like what are all the contingencies if something goes sideways. And as leaders, if you don't set your team up for that, they're gonna just prevent themselves from ever being in that position in the first place, which is what I did. So, oh yeah, I've got those were the days I've heard the Johnny and Tony stories. Like those are the days that we probably should have put in writing about some of the cases we got involved in back then.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
first apprehension that I ever made, I went outside and they ran. And I stood there like, do I chase? Do I
Right.
tackle? What do I
Go
do? I
scratch
haven't been
first.
trained on
Right.
this.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a
my
different
first
So have you guys
attempted apprehension. I think you guys have all heard the story. Literally, first attempted apprehension, guy pulled a Bowie knife on me right on Michigan Highway in Dearborn, Michigan. First one. So to your point, Dave, not trained for that. Not like
no.
so, yeah. And
well,
I did not react well. I still tried to make the apprehension. There was a car involved. I got drugged. You said I think we cut it on another podcast, but
yeah.
probably not what I should have done, right?
Right.
But to your point, was not planning for the what if
I
situation.
spent a little time in Dearborn, Tony. You're lucky it was only a Bowie knife.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Although I
Fair
will
enough.